Knowing how to write good complex sentences will improve your academic writing. In this video, we're going to talk about how to create good complex sentences. First, let's talk about what a complex sentence is. A complex sentence has one independent clause and at least one dependent clause. An independent clause can be a sentence all on its own, but a dependent clause cannot. The dependent clause needs to be connected to a complete sentence, or what is also known as an independent clause. Let's look at an example to see what we mean. The company decided to end the contract when the customer refused to pay the invoice. Now, this is a complex sentence because it has one independent clause. The company decided to end the contract. This set of words is a complete sentence or an independent clause. However, the phrase, when the customer refused to pay the invoice, is a dependent clause. It cannot be a sentence by itself. The words, the customer refused to pay the invoice, would make a good complete sentence or independent clause, but because we've added the word when, it has become a dependent clause. Now, this is one way that a complex sentence can be written. Let's look at a few more examples. In this sentence, the dependent clause is the words, the rain stopped. The dependent section is after about an hour. Here's another sentence. I decided to go for a walk since it stopped raining. Now, in this sentence, the independent clause is I decided to go for a walk. The dependent clause is the phrase since it stopped raining. Here's one more sentence. I kept walking until I found a park to sit in. In this sentence, the independent clause is I kept walking, and the dependent clause is the phrase until I found a park to sit in. Now, there are many words that can be used to create a complex sentence. All of the words in the box can be used in this way. I want to show you one more way that these words can be used to create a complex sentence. In the example here, we've used the phrase at the beginning of the sentence. Because I hoped to be soothed by the gentle night air, I went for a walk. Here's another example using one of the words in the box. Although small businesses may have many challenges, careful planning will help them to succeed. And here's one more. Whether these changes are big or small, small businesses need to face these problems carefully. Now you can see that you can use these words at the beginning of the sentence to create a complex sentence. Let's look at the sentences we used previously. The rain stopped after about an hour. Now we can change this by moving the phrase to the beginning of the sentence. After about an hour, the rain stopped. Notice that we need to add a comma after the phrase before we write the independent clause. I decided to go for a walk since it stopped raining. Again, we can take our phrase and put it at the beginning of the sentence, followed by a comma. Since it stopped raining, I decided to go for a walk. And our final sentence, I kept walking until I found a park to sit in. Again, we take our phrase and put it at the beginning of a sentence, followed by a comma. Until I found a park to sit in, I kept walking. Now, using this kind of pattern is a good way to make good complex sentences. Let's look at one more sentence using this technique. Passion is another valuable characteristic because it can inspire other employees to work hard. Now, we often write sentences in this pattern. We state something and then say, because it is or because it can. Now, this is a very good complex sentence, but we can also create another type of complex sentence by moving the phrase to the beginning. Because it can inspire other employees to work hard, passion is another valuable characteristic. Now, often, depending on what you want to emphasize in your sentence, it may be a good idea to bring the phrase to the beginning of the sentence. All of these words in the box can be used in this way. Let's talk about another way that we can write complex sentences. We can use relative clauses which begin with the words which, that, when. Sustainable development, which has become an important issue today, has many challenges. Now, we've included a phrase which has become important issue today. The independent clause is sustainable development has many challenges. We have added more information to our sentence. By adding the relative clause, we have changed a simple sentence into a complex sentence. Try using the word marketing in a complex sentence using one of the following words: which, that, when. Pause the video and try writing a complex sentence using the word marketing. Here is a possible sentence that could be written using the word marketing. Internet marketing, which has become very popular today, is changing the way we do business. Notice that we put a comma before and after the relative clause. Here's one more example. The company, which just had its annual meeting, has decided to make some policy changes. The relative clause, which just had its annual meeting, adds more information to the sentence. Try writing a complex sentence in this pattern with this sentence beginning. Pause the video and practice writing a complex sentence using a relative clause. Here's an example of what could be written. The company, which manufactures cell phones, has produced another winning product. I have a bonus for you. You can also write compound complex sentences. Here's one pattern that you could use. Let's use our previous sentence to show how you can change a complex sentence into a compound complex sentence. The company, which manufactures cell phones, has produced another winning product. We can change this in this way. The company, which manufactures cell phones, has produced another winning model, but competitors are already making similar products. Now, if we take out the relative clause, we can make a compound sentence by adding the word but. This is the compound sentence part. By including the relative clause, we can make this sentence into a compound complex sentence. Now, this is a higher level sentence, but if you learn how to write these correctly, your writing will move to a higher level. Here's one more way that you can write a compound complex sentence. After the first complex sentence, add a semicolon and then add a word such as however, followed by a comma, and then write another simple sentence. If you want more help with how to write these types of sentences, check out my other videos about how to write good English sentences. So to recap, a complex sentence has one independent clause and at least one dependent clause. An independent clause can be a sentence all on its own, but a dependent clause cannot. Try writing some complex sentences in your next writing assignment. Happy writing!